I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift pro driver, and me and my dad have had a dream for over a decade of going 200 miles an hour on the Bonneville Salt Flats on a motorcycle. Follow along, this is Permatex Flat Out 200. So this entire idea originated about 10 plus years ago when me and my father went to Moab, Utah for a week with some of his friends just to go ride dirt bikes for the week. So it was kind of like my farewell to high school and kind of just get away and go and ride dirt bikes for the weekend, because that's kind of what we did as a family. So hung out down there for about a week, did some amazing riding, saw some really cool stuff, and then on our way back it just happened to be Bonneville Speed Week. So we go out on the Salt Flats, never been there before, and just rolling up to the place, it was absolutely insane. What a crazy, crazy place. There's nowhere else I've ever seen that was just that flat and that white, because all the salt is white. So we get out there, we see some guys go really fast, 300, 450 miles an hour. We saw a couple of guys go by and it just blew me away. I could not believe just the speed of it. And there was one guy out there who was just riding a relatively stock 1000cc bike, and it was insane to me that he was out there just holding that thing wide open. My dad and I thought that it was so cool, and we really just decided that we had to do it someday. So we swore up and down that we would definitely come back to Bonneville Salt Flats one day, and we would go and we'd try and go 200 miles an hour. My father has done a lot more road bike racing than I have. Mostly growing up, I was all dirt bike. So that 200 mile an hour goal was really just something that was like so far-fetched that like we had to try it, right? So here we are 10 plus years later. I've had this insane opportunity working up through my drifting program. I've had some incredible sponsors that pretty much help me with whatever I think that I want to do. And this is one of those things where we pitch it to Permatex and it's like, hey, I know it sounds crazy, but this has been 10 years in the making. It's a family thing. It's me and my dad. This is us going to be bonding together. And he's one of my best friends. He helps me on my racing program with drifting. And he's been there since the beginning from it all. So I felt like this was a really good opportunity to kind of do something crazy and do something that really nobody else in the drift scene is doing. And that's why I'm incredibly stoked to be able to do this. It's absolutely insane. So we definitely got a lot to learn, and don't get me wrong, I've absolutely no idea what I'm doing. So that's why we're looking for help from a lot of different really cool people, and we've had some great help along the way as well. So
seriously, Dylan, 200 miles an hour on the Salt Flats on a motorcycle. I know you grew up riding dirt bikes, so you have some skills, but you're crazy, dude.
We're in way over our heads on this, and it turns out there's a whole lot involved in going 200 miles an hour, a lot more than I would have considered. But we're committed, we have to do it, we're definitely doing it. So kind of a couple of things that thinking about moving forward is we have a couple different options that different paths we could go down for which bike we can choose. So we can either do like mid-2000s Hayabusa style bike, which would be a used bike, and I would end up building a turbo kit for it. We have good relationships with partners that would help us out with some turbo bits and some engine management bits, and I'm a decent fabricator, so I could probably make all this stuff myself. But then it's not a brand new bike, and will it make it? Probably, but I think it's gonna be a whole lot more work, and we have a lot of other stuff going on as well. So, plus there's kind of the factor of I would really like to have a brand new bike. Like, it's just something about rolling a brand new bike off the showroom floor and just kind of going for it, I think is way better. The thing has absolutely, ideally 0 miles on it, and at that point we would just kind of do whatever we wanted to do with it.
What do you think of Dylan Hughes trying to go 200 miles an hour on a motorcycle?
I think I was jealous as soon as I heard about it. I was like, why didn't I think of that? So it's pretty cool.
Do you think it's dangerous?
I mean, that's what makes it fun, right?
So a couple of different paths we can go down. We basically figured out that we need to go force induction. So the Bonneville Salt Flats is elevated to about 4,000 feet. So that's going to be every 1,000 feet that you go up in elevation, it takes away your horsepower drastically. So it's something that you have to consider. Also, there's absolutely no traction on salt. So one of the biggest things that we have to worry about is the aerodynamics on the bike. So you can take a bike that's meant to go fast and you can put it on the Bonneville Salt Flats, and it's not going to go nearly as fast as you want it to. Because the aerodynamics essentially will create like a brick wall, and you just won't aerodynamically be able to make it to the speed that you want. Doesn't matter how much power you have, it will just start spinning the tire. So that's something else we got to consider, spinning the tire. I've talked to a lot of different people that will say if you don't have the right aero package on your bike, you will be spinning the back tire in excess of 180 miles an hour, which is pretty psychotic if you think about it. It sounds pretty well terrifying. But on the topic of bikes, we were deciding which way we wanted to go. We're gonna go turbo Hayabusa, or we're gonna go like newer bike of some sort of force injected newer bike. So we got in touch with a good friend of my dad's named Bill Woods, who's a Salt Flats legend. He's been going out there for years and years. And my dad's known him for a couple of years, which is really cool because I was able to hit him up, and he's been an unbelievable help to me. Every time I call him, he answers, lots of text messages back and forth. And the dude knows what's up. He knows how to go 200 miles an hour on the Salt Flats. He's been there, he knows the aero package is. He knows the horsepower numbers to make it happen. So he had a friend who had a turbo Hayabusa that we were potentially gonna buy. So I end up hitting the guy up, we're like ready to do this thing, and he's just like, you know what? I'm not ready to sell the bike, I don't want to. So that was kind of, that was tough, man. Like I thought for sure, I was like, this is it, we're gonna drive to Seattle, we're gonna go get this bike, it's gonna be all sick, like we got a plan, okay, sweet. And then like kind of the carpet was yanked out from underneath us. Maybe I got my hopes up a little bit, I don't know, but. So now that we kind of got the wind taken out of our sail about the Hayabusa bike, we kind of took a step back and started looking at newer bikes, and that's kind of where we're at now. So now we got to find a bike that's capable of doing this, and we have to do whatever necessary to make this thing do 200. And so when I mean we don't know what we're doing, like this is out of my comfort zone. We're a little bit in over our heads, and we're kind of learning this at warp speed and kind of figuring it out as we go. So moving forward, we really want to give this to you guys as raw as possible. So we're going to be doing Instagram stories along the way. We're going to be doing Instagram posts along the way. These videos are going to be coming out on Permatex's social media platforms, my social media platforms as well, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff. So we kind of want to give it to you guys raw and make you guys realize that, hey, we're figuring this out as we go, and I'm completely out of my comfort zone, and I'm ready for it. This is going to be sick.